How you going, all you beautiful people? In this video, another subscriber's question. Now let's give a little bit of a background to this video. This question was left on this video, a little screenshot there. And in that video, I was talking about another subscriber's question, which was, did God create the ego? Do we have to kill the ego? All that kind of stuff. And in passing, in that video, I said, God is like water that the ocean and waves appear in. I briefly said that. Now, this was a fatal error. Well, not fatal, that's a bit dramatic. What I really should have said is Brahman is the water that the ocean, which would be God, and the waves appear in. The waves would be us, God would be the ocean, Brahman would be the water. And Kevin, who asked this question, really good stuff, because I get to elaborate on it now. Here's the question Kevin asked. You can see it there. I can see it on my trusty iPhone 8. Yes, iPhone 8. It works. What am I meant to do? Get rid of it? It works. Thank you. This struck a chord. I had always thought of God as an ocean rather than water. Could you speak to this a bit? If God is water, then what is ocean/wave? I hope you are catching the nuance I'm wrestling with. Yes. And for you to pick this out, good. I'm so happy. Because you're right. It would be confusing. So what are they really getting at in Hinduism? They talk about a universal principle, a fundamental source called Brahman. And look, every time I use these words, source, it betrays what Brahman really is, because it's prior to language. There is only Brahman, so for it to be a source that something comes out of, it doesn't ultimately make sense, but bear with me. And this is why also they talk about Brahman in two ways that are both correct. Nirguna Brahman and Saguna Brahman. Nirguna Brahman is what I'm trying to express. Brahman has non-objective qualities. It is not in time and space. It has no form. Paradoxically, because of this, out of this non-objective, not in time and space, no quality Brahman, emerges what they call Saguna Brahman. Saguna Brahman is Brahman with attributes. Infinite qualities, in time and space. What you'd call the God of religion. And before I proceed further, guys, if you're coming from a Western mindset, this is the issue with our mind, by the way. Our mind it can only think in dualistic thinking. Black and white, right and wrong, yin and yang. To really appreciate Hinduism, you need to appreciate the limits of your mind. Your mind can only think in dualistic thinking. You need to be able to see beyond dualistic thinking. In other words, hold two things as equally true in your mind at the same time. Be comfortable with paradoxes. I found if you really want to progress in spirituality, the Hindu form of spirituality, you need to be comfortable with paradoxes. The philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein had a great quote, which was, "The limits of my world are the limits of my language," I think he said. He's basically saying, the reality you see is limited by your language. The reality you see is limited by how your mind is modeled. If all you can see and think is, if all you can think in is dualistic thinking, that's the world that's presented to you. It's much more complex than that. I'm just trying to give you the feel of what he's saying. So if you want to see this or experience this non-dual reality, ultimately, if you're not seeing or experiencing it yet, you need to be comfortable with paradoxical thinking, holding two things true at the same time. Why is that? Because Brahman is prior to language. Brahman is the essence of all language. It can't be put into words, but because we have limited language, in this human mind anyway, that's what we can do. We've got to be comfortable with two things being right at the same time, because ultimately Brahman is prior to language. That's why they say the truth is prior to language, prior to silence, prior to sound and silence. You're aware of sound, you're aware of silence. What knows that? Brahman, pure consciousness. I need to stop talking about it. It blows my mind. But in any case, Nirguna Brahman is Brahman without attributes. It is the water. It's water. What is Saguna Brahman? This water with attributes. We'll call it the ocean. we'll call it God. So here's what we need to understand. If Nirguna Brahman is water, Saguna Brahman is the ocean, this ocean has, let's say, infinite qualities in the sense of there's so many waves appearing in the ocean, so many ripples, so many bubbles, so many whirlpools, so much ocean spray. Picture them like qualities. This can be classed as God. The ocean is God, but what's it made from? Water. It's only ever been water, is water, will ever be water. Where do we fall into all this? Out of this vast ocean, which is God, emerges waves. I'm a wave, you're a wave, everything's a wave. So this is what we need to realize, what they're speaking about in Hinduism. The wave can never ultimately say, from the wave's point of view, I'm this whole ocean. Because the wave is limited to just its waveform. But in a deeper sense, it is the ocean. It's part of the ocean. You can almost say all the waves, whirlpools, bubbles, if you add them up together, the sum total of them is the ocean. But deeper still, what is the fundamental nature of all these appearances? Ocean, waves, whirlpools, bubbles, it's water. It's Nirguna Brahman, which Saguna Brahman, the god of Western religion, or any religion really, emerges out of, is made from. That gives rise to us as these smaller waves. I know this can be very confusing and complex, and I encourage you to spend a lot of time with it. But what effect is this giving us? What is this effect meant to give us as this person that we think we are? Hanuman, in a conversation with Rama, in the Ramayana, summed this up beautifully. He said to Rama was, I think it was the 7th incarnation of Vishnu, of God. I think it's the 7th. Rama said to Hanuman, how do you see me, Hanuman? Hanuman said, when I identify as the person, I am the servant, you are the master. When I identify as the soul, you are the whole, I am the part. When I identify as my true self, me and you are one. So this Hanuman Rama story summed it up so beautifully. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you're perceiving in the moment, whether you identify as the body, soul, or true self, that's what you're going to experience. And I just want to quickly mention, is this kind of thinking limited to Hinduism? No. There was this Christian mystic, Meister Eckhart, who said, the ground of my being and the ground of God's being is one and the same. He's basically saying the fundamental source of me and God are one. The Sufi mystic Rumi also had a great quote, which was, when I searched for God, I can only find myself. When I searched for myself, I only found God. See how non-dual this is. And here's one thing I've been getting into recently. The Gnostic books of the Bible, of the Christian Bible. So fascinating. These are like books of the Bible that never made the traditional Bible because of apparently the early church. There's some books like the Gospel of Judas, Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Mary. Really interesting stuff if you're into this. But in this Gospel of Thomas, there's a collection of sayings that Jesus said. A lot of these sayings were very non-dual. Jesus was speaking so non-dual that have been omitted from the regular Bible. I'll encourage you to do your own research, but it's so funny that in all these traditions, it seems to a bigger or lesser degree, there are non-dual teachings about the one appearing separate. So guys, getting back to this water, ocean, wave example, I'll just give you one more example just to make it clear if that was a bit confusing. Because I like this example too. Imagine Brahman was the movie screen. God was a super entity that emerged from the screen and pervaded the entire screen. Basically the screen with attributes. A screen with no movie playing on it is a blank, isn't it? But when a movie starts playing, it gives the screen attributes. And here's the beautiful thing. To say it emerges from the screen, pervades the screen, strictly speaking, it's only ever the screen, isn't it? Whether things are emerging from it or not, it's always ever screen. But just say this God character emerges onto the screen, pervades the screen, and then creates us. Separate individuals in this movie. So what can we say? From the point of view of the screen, it's only ever been the screen, will be the screen, that's it. It's only ever been screen. From the point of view of the movie, a God character has emerged and created us. So God is the super entity in the movie. We're just small characters that this God character made. See again how it works on apparently 3 different levels that are all one. I'm a small character in the movie. God created the movie, which emerged out of the screen, and Brahman, Nirguna Brahman, is the screen. But strictly speaking, and this is what they want, they're always driving at in Advaita Vedanta. We talk about, I'm the person, there's a God that's come from a screen, but strictly speaking, it's only ever been the screen, hasn't it? No matter what's happening or not happening, it's only ever been screen. Same with this Nirguna Brahman concept. Nirguna Brahman that's all that there is. Non-objective qualities that apparently objective qualities emerges out of, a God emerges out of, that creates us. This is why Advaita Vedanta has no conflict with science, no conflict with religion. They are saying in religion that yes, God has limitless qualities. God is Saguna Brahman, limitless qualities that has created you. Advaita Vedanta has no conflict with this. They're just saying, take it back one step further. God and you are emerging from the one source. And even to say emerging, again, limitations of language. This is why it's so tough to talk about. You need to intuit what they're saying. You need to be able to hold 2 opposing ideas in your head. And what will that do for you? For this person that you've always thought you were. Once this sinks into this body-mind complex, the person you think you are, you're gonna keep playing the character of you thinking I'm here, there's others there, I'm living a life. That's gonna remain. But in the deeper sense, you felt separate. You felt like I'm here and the world's there. I feel cut off. I feel alone in the deeper sense. That's what you felt. Once this knowledge dawns on you, you realize literally the fabric of you and everyone and everything is one and the same. We talk about family being related through blood. This is being related through divinity. It's the same fabric. To drive this home even clearer, it's like in a dream. Your one undivided mind in deep sleep is a blank. That's like Nirguna Brahman. When that one undivided mind starts generating appearances, it's still only ever the one undivided mind, isn't it? But now it's Saguna Brahman, generating these appearances of a separate world in time and space, never actually becoming it though. And if you ever get into a lucid dream, you'll realize this fact. You'll go, oh, I'm dreaming this up right now. It appears separate, but it's only my one undivided mind appearing like all this. So once this dawns on you as this person, yes, you're going to live life like you always did. You're getting older, you're getting sick, you're having financial troubles, relationship issues, but deep down, you realize it's the same fabric. This reality is made from love. Love is the absence of separation. There is no separation. This reality is Saguna Brahman, Brahman with attributes, appearing separate, playing a game, hypnotizing all of us to thinking we're separate to play the game. This is God's play, as Sri Ramakrishna said. God's got you covered, guys. No matter how negative, no matter how nihilistic you feel, God has hypnotized you to think that. That's the role you need to play. You're such a good method actor, you really believe it. But in God's grace, eventually, especially people like you that have come to these teachings, you've come to these teachings, I've always had this feeling, I didn't choose spirituality, it chose me. And I'm guessing the same for you. Who the hell would want to sit around talking like this? You know how much of a weirdo I feel like I sound? Especially to my family that's watching this. Weirdo. I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. Of course, it sounds nuts. But, guys, this is God's play. When God is ready for you, your character, to wake up and realize this, there's no stopping it. You getting interested in this kind of stuff is the process. It's starting to begin. There's no going back. Your head is in the tiger's mouth, as Ramana Maharshi said. And by that he meant, once your head's in the tiger's mouth, too late for you. At some point or another, bang, the tiger's decapitating you. Your head's in the tiger's mouth. this realization of the oneness with all reality is going to click sooner or later. There's no going back. So don't stress. But yeah, guys, this video again is just like a general conversation. I don't even know if I'm making sense. But to kind of round off this video, what does this ultimately make you realize? Once you realize, Tat Twamasi, thou art that. You are that. You are Brahman. There is only Brahman. At the deeper sense, what is this going to do for you? The character view still continues. But this character that thought it was separate, thinking I need to gain things from this world for happiness, it'll slowly die down. Because why are you trying to gain happiness from this world? Because you feel like you're separate. Once you clearly realize, I'm not separate. There is just the one fabric appearing separate. What is there to be added to you or lost? Your desires will turn to preferences. You'll prefer this and that in life, but you won't need it to be that way. When you really need it to be that way, that's ego. Ego really thinking, if I get that, I'll be happy. And that's what causes the ego to cross the lines of morality. When the desire is so strong, the ego's like, look, I know what's right and wrong, but I need that for happiness. There's no stopping me. I probably won't get caught because I'm smart, and then you get caught anyway. But guys, it just gives you this sense of relief. I think in Buddhism, that's what they call nirvana. Blown out, relief, relax. You're just a sense of peace. That you've done what was needed to be achieved in life. And what's left for this person? Just to live out the rest of its days. This body was made from the earth, is going back to the earth. But the deeper sense of you realize your essence is unborn, infinite, eternal. You can relax. You're always safe. Oh, man. But yes, like I've mentioned in other videos too, for this person, it needs to have a loving attitude. It needs to devote to a higher power. It needs to devote to Saguna Brahman, because it's all you anyway, isn't it? So this person needs a sense of devotion, love in its heart, to a God in any form you choose, or to reality in general. This view of God as well, I should just also add, is God doesn't play favorites in the Hindu point of view. There is no Christian God, Muslim God, Jewish God, Hindu God. That would be a limited God. True God in Hinduism says, I don't play favorites. It's all me anyway. You're just preferring to worship me in the form of Jesus or Krishna or Allah, you know? They're saying ultimately pick your preference. There's so many different people, aren't there? We're all taller, shorter, different genders, different skin colors, different preferences. Whatever preference you choose to worship this God in, totally fine. God's got you covered. So don't get caught up in all this, my God's better than your God. There is no such thing as a holy war. What's this holy war? God loves everyone equally. This is why it doesn't make sense. So, gosh, I kind of get a bit animated and start ranting. But I hope this helps, guys. I really hope this is getting you a feel of what Hinduism is trying to say. And how you need to hold two paradoxical ideas in your head. Brahman is nothing, yet Brahman is everything. My essence and God essence is one and the same fabric, yet we appear separate. So on the level of appearance, still worship a God. All the while knowing the essence of you and God is one and the same fabric. Absence of separation. You can't be separate from God because there is only God. That's why the nature of God is unconditional love. Love with no conditions. Love is the absence of separation. There's only the appearance of separation, which is no problem at all, ultimately. It's only a problem when you feel like I'm this person living a life. But once you break out of that, you realize, oh, this appearance of separation has never been a problem or will ever be a problem. And for the people that still think it's a problem, the people out there suffering, crying in misery, they think it's a problem. So there's no point going up to them and going, it's all a dream, it's all God, get over it. No, they think it's real. So you need to help them. You need to be compassionate. Compassion, love, understanding, non-judgment. You found this truth. So be an instrument to manifest this truth with your actions, with your thoughts, speech, and deeds. That's all I can say. Oh, hope this helps. See you guys.